Good morning to you, Mama V.
Good morning. I am good. We didn't get an invitation, so we had to watch from our newsroom.
Perhaps maybe we should have asked for an invitation, I think.
Do you ask for it or is extended to you?
Well, you never know sometimes if you want to be at a place and really do the encounter. But the thing is, I'm told that only few questions were asked compared to the numbers.
Yeah, and it looked like the president didn't have much time yesterday.
Yes. I'm told that he had other important...
At a point we saw him do this, I think he had somewhere else to be as well. And there were lots of people that had been invited. And I think conversations coming out of this is that maybe we should look at the way we probably structure. There was a suggestion of a representative from each of the regions before you come to the Greater Accra region where you have some main media houses,
that could feature, I think so.
But I've heard positive, it's just things to work on, but there were generally positive remarks about the organization as well. I know that later on this morning you will get into some of the questions that were asked and things about and the president's response to some of the questions that was asked. Countryman Songo represented, by the way.
And we'll have some playbacks too.
We will. But we asked you, and some of you indeed sent us what you thought journalists could ask. So I'm asking you this morning, how did it go for you? Do you think that our journalists did a fantastic job? Did they ask the questions that you think is most pressing to the Ghanaian? Did we get the right answers or the response from the president? Let us know. There was a moment of shock when somebody said the president looked cool and fresh. It was so unexpected. And the president,
especially when it featured on one of the comments that you shouldn't go saying that the president's shoes were nice. And
well, if he looked cool and you couldn't help it, then you needed to say the president looked cool and fresh. The president was shocked, actually. I mean, he was like,
look.
Where's that coming from? Yeah, so some of you have already sent us messages. Mystic in Mataheko said, you're not happy that the president, on Songo's question about the Commission of Inquiries, the Justice Jamepa Committee report. Well, I mean, the president was honest. It wasn't something that was readily on his mind. And I was also thinking that perhaps we should ask the question in a way that will make the president want to answer or answer it directly. So, for instance, if you say, Mr. President, are you interested in the report? He simply tells you that, well, he's had a lot of things to deal with. This was like a 2014 finding. So, but if you asked, most of us followed the commission, but we still don't know what is contained in the white paper. Can we urge you, Mr. President, to release it? Then you can get him to say, oh, I'm going to ask my minister to, something like that.
So the precision.
Exactly. But if you say, are you interested? He would give you a general response. And there's no time for follow-ups.
I think also maybe the media houses, all of us, could have better deliberated on the questions that we wanted our representatives to
Some people did. Some people did. You clearly could see from the way they asked the questions. Some people came with either their phones or their tabs.
We did.
Or structured.
You said some did. We did.
I said some media houses did. And some teams clearly did. Some people
some
probably...
of the questions were just on point.
Some probably also did, except that there were no questions that you were thinking a team could come up with. Yeah?
You mean we were surprised that their teams came up with such questions?
Let me read this message from Muhammad A. Rahman in Gushagu, who also sends a WhatsApp message. You can send me a WhatsApp message and a regular text message as well.
Says and the WhatsApp number should be on your screen now.
Yeah, Patricia will put it there.
All right.
Good morning, Patricia. Say. Says our president's speech yesterday was spectacular or spectaculous, whichever way, but there wasn't any mention on water and sanitation. The government is really an unaware one. All right. Send us more of your messages. We'll share it in the course of the review. But let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper. And then you would see, Roland, on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper, secret of success, our act's unique. President says at media engagement. And he says he's had to do things differently and it's definitely giving him the kind of results that he was expecting. But there's a picture on the front page of the Daily Graphic, and I can't skip that because one of our own is featured in there, Latif Idris, getting closer and closer to the president with each assignment. Latif is with other journalists, including the president of the Ghana Journalists Association, in a chat. President is smiling or laughing at something that one of them perhaps said on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. Captured beautifully. Also on the front page of the Graphic, Parliament to decide on Gitmo 2. President did say, and again, this was one of the questions that I thought, it was a brilliant question, by the way, but if it had been framed differently, then we could have had the president say a lot more than he did. So he says, yes, the contract, the agreement has come to an end. We've got to decide, which gave a hint that we had not decided and we was waiting for Parliament. But if the question had been framed this way, on what basis are these two still living in Ghana, considering the fact that the contracts that we signed had expired? You know, then he would give you more, something like that. I'm just thinking. But thank God for the old journalists, the Kwesi Prats and Ebo Kwanzaa,
you were always
they kind of asked, they took us back to, nobody asked about EC and Iyoko. Iyoko, by the way, today is the 3rd day out of the 14. I told you I'll be counting down. Also on the front page of the Daily Graphic, Commander Sugar Factory not likely to produce sugar. That's according to a UCC research team. So I'm just going to go to page 16, bring you a bit of that. It says the Commander Sugar Factory in the Central Region is not likely to produce sugar for the next 1 year unless drastic measures are taken by the government to promote sustainable sugar plantations to feed the factory. This is the outcome of a study by a team of researchers from the University of Cape Coast who worked on a special assessment of sustainable feedstock supply to the factory. Other details of what the finding brought out also in the paper this morning. You might want to read on this. There's also the bit about MPP launching amended constitution to strengthen its structure or structures. Details of that also here. Power play in NDC warring, according to an executive. You might want to check out who exactly that executive is.
There's power play?
Apparently, there's an executive who is saying that. In the center spread, the new AGI president, he's a clinical pharmacist. His name is Dr. Yao Edujemfi. He's taken office as the 19th president of the Association of Ghana Industries with a pledge to prioritize economic research for sound business decision-making while helping Ghanaian businesses to access the idling Nigerian market. So we've got pictures of his swearing in by His Lordship Justice P. Bafo-Boni of the Supreme Court. Pictures of that outdooring in the center spread of the Daily Graphic newspaper. So you might want to know who your new AGI president is. All the background details in the center spread of the Daily Graphic. On the back page, though, this is good news for me. Hearts beat Koroko to qualify for final of Galka G8. And it is 4-2 on penalties at the Babayara Sports Stadium to secure a place in the final of the Galka G8 tournament. No wonder I heard very little about it yesterday. It was played in Kumasi and Hearts have won. This is what we want Hearts to be doing, eh? Also, I'll seek advice on World Cup Commission reports coming out of Countryman Songo's question to the president yesterday, and he definitely had to add more fire. All right, details of all the headlines that you've heard, including others, in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Roland? All
right, so let's go to the Daily Guide newspaper. It has on the front page, Fear Amidu. And yesterday, I made a tweet on my handle, Row Walker Ghana on Twitter, and it just quoted the president as saying that his appointment will put a fear of God.
Yeah. It has already. It has already.
Because I believe the preamble to the president's own responses were the fact that the reason why he appointed him was because he thought he would appeal to everybody bipartisanly, and also because of what he stood for. He'd known him, etc. and he knows that it will not be the answer to everything corruption, but it will put the fear of God even in his own appointees. And he said it, if you're an appointee, you do something wrong, and there's an investigation you have found to have committed any wrong, then you're just up alone. You'll be left to hang. Just the gallows. But there's a great political score also for the president if that goes through, and I think that's good for the country. Now let's go to the other stories. We have government rejects 5.7 billion Ghana cedis, Mahama goes claims, and then NIB disowns Chachu, and that story we have to read. Looks very interesting. NIB disowning Chachu Chikata. Do you know fuel prices have gone up?
Have they gone up or they've gone down?
I gone up. I just went to the pumps right now.
Yeah? How much was it?
I don't know. But usually I will fill the tank with 260, and now I hit 290.
Yeah? I saw some figures, but I thought they had gone down.
No, rather have gone up.
Oh.
It's been captured by the daily guide. It says fuel prices go up. And this follows an earlier prediction by the Institute of Energy Security that prices will go up by between 3 and 4%. It looks more than that, though. We'll see how that goes as far as we're concerned. But
so you said you spent what?
I spent an extra
190.
An extra 40 Ghana.
190.
Yeah, usually. So it means those who usually will.
And this is top up. This is top up. This is not like.
No, I was filling the tank.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah. So it means those who, and it was not. It was just after the first gauge or just within the first gauge.
Okay.
So it means those who use 350 to fill.
Capacity is what?
I think 2.5. No, 3.5.
Really?
2.5 or 3.5.
And you spend that?
2.5. It's diesel.
Okay.
It's diesel, by the way.
So you've got
It's diesel.
Because that's a bit.
I'm wondering. I'm wondering for petrol user because
all that'll be a lot more.
Yeah, because all of them. It means the consumption to be high because they, petrol.
I spend almost the same amount
and
topping up when it's like a little below half.
It's diesel.
And mine is petrol.
Charlie, now they become more. Also, so they are no nam kwanso fire. Oba fire.
Really?
Hey. No, let me reveal your speed. And then, so I'm trying to find the Chachu story. Okay, can't find it. Let's go to the center spread.
It's also in the Times, so I'll get to it.
All right. So let's go to the center spread of the News One pullout of the Daily Guide. It says, I believe in Shatawale. Apparently, there's a gentleman called Nanake Ajekum, known by the stage name Gold K, is a Ghanaian-born UK-based Afro-beat musician. Apparently a semi-finalist of British Got Talent 2016 or 2013 season 7. And then there's also a story, if you check out the News One pullout of the Daily Guide, it says Genevieve Inaji, and a story we looked at about Funke, who has been removed from the cast.
Becky shared that with us, I think, 2 days ago.
And replaced with Genevieve Inaji, apparently. And there's also a story from Nigeria's Daily Post indicating Genevieve Inaji's name has also been pulled off from the website of the cast for the Avengers Infinity War. And we're told that the cast was supposed to play a role, or that character was supposed to be one that was protecting, or one of the bodyguards of one of the black superhero characters in the movie. All right.
Maybe they're still not sure who can play that character.
There were reports when Musica convened an event to, I think the president was even at that event, that Kennedy Japan, the member of parliament for Asin Central, had promised 5,000 Ghana cedis each to some musicians, A.B. Krenzel, Nana Kwame Ampedu, Joel Aka, Boba J.A. Adolfo, and C.K. Mann, 5,000 each, that he was going to pay them monthly as his benevolence. Apparently, he says that I never promised. He appeared on Bedroom on Adom, and he says, I never promised that money.
For real?
Yeah, he says, he's quoted here. Speaking on Adom TV's Bedroom program, the politician disclosed that there was a miscommunication between him and Obo That's by Soseko. According to him, he rather promised to pay 1,000 Ghana cedis each to the renowned musicians, an amount which will sum up to 5,000 Ghana cedis for the 5 musicians. I think there was a miscommunication somewhere. It says, I met him at the Flagstaff and told him my 5,000 Ghana cedis is ready. But the issue is that I never promised to give each of them monthly.
Oh, okay. So what's the deal? It's a one-time?
I think it's a one-time.
All right.
It's a one-time.
Okay, so from that clarification, let's do the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Front page of the Ghanaian Times. This story also in the Daily Guide. Chachuchikata NIB, that's the National Investment Bank, clash at Supreme Court. We'll bring you details of that. Special prosecutor will prosecute past, present, corrupt officials. Government will soon decide on Gitmo 2 or these two coming out of the president's encounter with the media yesterday. And my appointees are not corrupt, President declares. And we know that some people have taken issue with his comments on the parliamentary sitting, the committee that was put up by the Speaker to look into this matter with the Trades Minister and the Expatriate Awards and the charges, some fees that they were made to pay, clarifications on that, details of that. That committee is still working. The last time we checked, the expatriate community who had been invited did not show up, forcing the committee to postpone.
They didn't appear?
They didn't appear.
Not at all.
So they postponed their sitting, but they have not completed their work. So some people find it a bit troubling that the president is commenting on the issue, and if you like, from his demeanor and from the choice of words, more like dismissing the work of this committee that is yet to even finish its work. So there are a lot of talking points coming from that angle as well. On page 3, though, on this issue of Chachuchikata and the NIB, says there was drama at the Supreme Court yesterday between Mr. Chachuchikata and the National Investment Bank as to who should represent the financial institution as its solicitor in a review motion. The motion was filed by Mr. Kwame Pienim on behalf of Standard Bank Offshore Trust Company Limited and another against NIB, whilst the bank thought its deputy managing director, Fred George Thompson, told the court presided by the Chief Justice, Ms. Sophia Kufo, that board of directors had dispensed of Mr. Chikata's services as their solicitor. The celebrated lawyer maintained that he was still the solicitor of the bank. So the tussle in quotes, however, compelled the Apex Court to adjourn the case to Tuesday, January 23, 2018, by which time the parties would have resolved the issue amicably. So the issue is who duly represents the NIB in this issue. I guess we wait to see. January 23rd is just around the corner. That date or day is a day for Parliament to also, come back to the House. So a lot of things will happen on January 23, I guess. Alleged rapist granted 40,000 Ghana cedis. That story also here on page 3 says Gideon Lai, a property agent who was accused of defiling his 10-year-old niece at Osu, has been admitted to bail by an Accra Circuit Court on Wednesday. So Lai, who was reported to have admitted inserting his finger into the victim's vagina but denied having sexual intercourse with her, was admitted to bail in the sum of 40,000 Ghana cedis with 3 sureties. This is one of those stories that you read with the details and it makes you want to go crazy. You don't even want to further comment. So yeah, you cringe really. Monthly intercessory prayers for Ghana. So the first monthly intercessory prayers for Ghana under the auspices of Aglo International comes up this Saturday. Details of that in the Ghanaian Times newspaper. And girl 12 murdered at Gomwa Ekwam Krom. So she's a Fulani girl who was in the early hours of Sunday murdered in cold blood by an unknown person at the outskirts of the communities near Agona Swedro in the central region. You might want to read details of the rest of that story in the Ghanaian Times. Let's see what's making center spread. Okay, so the president's encounter captured in pictures here. And on the back page of the Times, some sports. Hearts urge Kotoko out to book G8 finals slots. That's the Galka 8 finals, and hopefully Hearts would get to grab some cup. It's been a while though, so we need you guys to bring the cup home. All right, there's also a Ministry of Youth Sport tax to consider implementation of Jamapa Committee report. That's another angle to the response given by the president on Songo's question on the Commission's report and the white paper that was subsequently issued by government back in 2014. Details of all of that in the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Roland?
All right, so let's go to the Daily Dispatch newspaper. It has on the front page only 4,650 out of the 168,159 qualified persons employed in 4 government institutions were employed. And the story with a great chart is on the back page. I will contest on MPP's ticket if that's again the president saying that if, like saying the Ghanaian people. So the Ghanaian people, the MPP give him the opportunity, the Ghanaian people, he will again be the president after 2020. That's the main election.
Roland, let's go over the figures on employment again.
So in total, from institutions like the Ghana Police Service, SEPS of the Ghana Revenue Authority.
This is on the back page of the
the Daily Dispatch newspaper.
Please. Let's do the back page of the paper.
So you get to see Ghana Immigration Service, Ghana Armed Forces, the applicants number following. Ghana Police Service, 158,000 people applied in excess.
Okay.
Ghana Revenue Authority, 59,000. Whilst they were only the number they needed was 350.
So immigration is even better, or?
Yes. Now, 84,000 applied for Ghana Immigration Service. They needed only 500.
Yeah.
Ghana Armed Forces, 26,000 applied. They needed only 1,800. And so in total, the numbers needed by these agencies were just 4,650, while we had 328,756 people applying.
Oh, wow.
Of course, they said that after sieving, they only saw the 168,000. That's half the number. But those that applied were 328,000. And they needed only 4,600 people.
It comes back to, if you know you need such a small number, why do you open it up and sell so many forms?
I think that
you should put a cap on it.
Yes, I think in all truism, they use it as a revenue generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, because... and that also is inclusive of the academic institutions, the tertiary institutions.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Because they know they won't give you the admission.
This is even because they are public institutions, so we are able to check their records. But to be fair, there are private institutions, particularly the universities, like you said, and they can go overboard. But they won't share their details with you, so you would never know the number of people that bought forms and the real number that they took in the end. Some of them, after buying the form, and you have to write the entrance exam, you even have to sit for an interview before you gain entry.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And all those places have been, all those processes have been put in place to make sure you just keep reducing the numbers.
Yeah.
Because a British, when you apply, you qualify. A British University.
Everywhere. Which one is that?
Oh, if you apply, you want to do law. No, if you want to go and do law, let's say in Harvard, once you are able, you go through process. But I'm not sure that you go to Harvard to go and do an interview.
You will.
Well, it depends.
You will.
It could be. Maybe it could have been done through Skype. Or
they probably would not.
Maybe they'll do through Skype or any of those.
But you go through processes. You go through due processes. Let's do the business finder. The Finder Tends business on Thursdays. So front page of the business finder, government saves 5.7 billion Ghana cedis after review of NDC contracts and audit review and validation by the Auditor General of outstanding payments bequeathed to the New Patriotic Party government for contracts awarded under the Mahama-led administration has saved the country a whopping 5.7 billion Ghana cedis. This is being disputed by the NDC, by the way, but this is coming out of the encounter and President's revelations, amongst the many revelations yesterday. Public sector debt to banks drops to 5.3%. What does that mean? Grab the paper and read the details. Halt redundancy exercise Labour expects, is he ordering, is he advising? Story on page 8, a bit of that. It says, oh, page 8, where are you? No, page 5. I beg your pardon. So we go back to page 5. And this is it. It says, Labour consultant Senyo Ajabing has advised Goldfields Ghana Limited to take advantage of the Labour Court's decision to halt its redundancy exercise and engage an expert to lead the consultation and negotiation of its workers. So details of that advice and the court's decision, the background, and then the ICU also reacting to this, Mr. Solomon Kotai, all in the paper today. That's it for the Business Finder newspaper. We'll do the Business and Financial Times. We'll read some of your messages, and then we'll do myjoyonline.com.
Okay, so let's look at the last paper. Then we look at the various online portals. So we have the Business and Financial Times. It has on the front page, we are on track. The story again attributed to the president. It's a fallout from that interaction with the media. We have brought stability to the power sector. President Akufo-Addo. We have government meets VCs over 34%. IGF cash as ministry halts increment in cost of funds, and startups must look for investors in their field of business. And that's all in the Business and Financial Times. On the back page, we're being told that Russia apparently is setting aside $1 billion to boost trade ties with Ghana. So usually in the extractive sector, it doesn't go downstream, so you never won't feel it if you're living in Tema, you're a businessman there, really. All right, so let's make sure that we get interactive on our various.
What's up?
Yeah,
what's
but
up?
let's do what's up if we can while we get ready the various online portals.
Your views, either the questions that were asked, posed to the question to the president, or the response. And here's one. I was not convinced on the Fulani menace, but would like to stick on JoyNews, would like to stick to headsmen because not all of them are Fulanis. So, yeah. Okay, this one says, no fight today. Somebody's happy we're not fighting today. The president's delivery was perfect. Ajina Saponjinia from Koforidia. Thank you for all the nice things that you say about us. And we thank you for watching the show. Ajina Saponjinia in Koforidia. This one says, I was not impressed about the questions they asked Mr. President. Isaac in Agona in Kwanta.
I thought we were the only people having the observations.
Yeah.
Apparently everybody was.
Gideon from Satellite says the journalists did not do well at all. Their questions was Mr. Trump's language.
Oh, really?
I will give them 0 over 10. Over 10. That's your rating. Here's another. Amdela from Volta. I want to know if Mr. President said something about the one factory, one dam policy. Okay. I'm sure you know. That's why you're sending us. This one says, good morning. The president's interaction with the media was an excellent one. Mr. President, I salute you. Zion in Wa. You say you're an incoming vice chairman. I'm not sure. Is it constituency? Is it like party? Give us more information. This one says our president,
I think it's prospect,
and governments of the day seem obsessed with economic figures instead of being concerned with sanitation and health that border citizens of Ghana. Mystic in Mataheko really getting active with us on what's up today. This one says, how can a journalist travel all the way from BA to Accra to ask the president about cashew roads? Clifford from Abofu is sending us this message. And this one from Sir Stone in Kumasi says, I was impressed with the president's intelligent and spontaneous responses to your questions, but next time you guys should ask some questions which holds gravity. Okay. All right, so let's quickly see if we can run through online, starting off with myjoyonline.com. Okay, so Roland, myjoyonline.com.
Okay, so we have myjoyonline.com. Government MPP communicators failing Akufo-Addo. Professor Kakari has accused communicators for government and the MPP of failing President Akufo-Addo over their inability to effectively publicize policies. That's a free consultancy for the MPP by Professor Kakari. We also have Bank of Ghana wants banks to improve risk management systems. Gold, Mama V.
$5 billion in exports to UAE criminally disposed of. Details of that on myjoyonline.com. Ghana ready to host Women Africa Cup of Nations, apparently. And then the media encounter. Avle Pratt and Moment questions are judged the best. So there's a poll that's been run. You can check it out on myjoyonline.com on the best questions. I think we've got to give it to Bernard Avle. Last year, he asked a question that people thought, oh my God, this is it. And this year, people are giving it to him as well. Yeah, and Mr. Kwesi Pratt, see, there are people who are senior journalists, Charlie. You can't take it away from them. Heading home, what my first trip to Ghana meant to me. This is a piece that you can read about us on myjoyonline.com. Cash for seat probe Akufo-Addo has become very intolerant, according to Okujeto Ablakwa Samuel. And then we're going to end it here. Wednesday briefing Okujeto Akufo-Addo cash for seat Amidu maternity unit catch up. And the maternity units of the Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital brings me to this. Tomorrow, God willing, tomorrow Friday, we're opening up this project that we started, made a lot of appeals. It started with Next to Die. That documentary was a JoyNews documentary produced by Seth Kwame Boateng. We were on a mission, and thank God we are here today. So we're launching that tomorrow at the Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital, the new mother and baby unit. Join us, and we really urge you to join us there at the Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital. That's it, commissioning of the mother and baby units. The Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital. It's 9:30 a.m. So please be there. We will be there. So, you know, we're going to Kumasi, Roland.
This morning?
Yeah, this morning. We're heading to Kumasi this morning for this project.
But the event is tomorrow.
Yeah, the event is tomorrow. It's big, so.
The Rebecca Foundation.
So, Kumasi, I'm joining you in Kumasi. So, those of you who watch the show in Kumasi, if you've got an interesting place that you want me to visit, I would want to come out. I don't eat fufu, but I'm an Ampesi chick. So let me know, and I'll bring my cameras as well, so we can have a chit chat. But before we leave and make way for sport, I'd like to remind us not to bring back, sad memories. But on this day, 18th of January, back in 2014, we lost a great man who then was working with the BBC World Service. Komla Dumo lost his life from cardiac arrests. He died in London. That was back in 2014. It is 4 years today. May his soul continue to rest in peace. Please do remember him. Yeah. All right, we've got sports coming up right after this.